Okay, thanks for being here. Going back through recapping Saturday, I think not a very, what I consider poor play and performance by our part, particularly starting on the offensive side. We only had one player we thought have a winning grade, winning performance, championship level, was Ricky Jones. We had no player of the game. You need more than one guy playing, grading out at a winning effort to play well, especially against a great opponent defensively and on the road. Got to do a better job of our planning, starting with me and our staff, just giving our players a better chance to be a little bit more aggressive, get our run game going again, ability to convert and stay on schedule a lot more and be a lot more aggressive. So we'll have been looking very hard at how we can just get ourselves back in sync and rhythm. And we'll get a tough challenge here with the multiple looks of Rutgers, but we've got to do that. We've got to help our players out as coaches a lot. We are dealing with some glitches, but everyone does, so that's nothing more than it's college ball. You know, you have some guys that are prepared, ready to go, and you got to play to their strengths. Every team has strengths. Every team has weaknesses, and we got to maximize some things that we're good at, get back at it with our line of scrimmage play, tight end play, and helping our skill guys continue to heal up, but also those young skill guys keep coming along. Some players need to step up, but coaches do too. We need to move forward positively, and I expect us to do so. We had a really good week last week from our scout look. I thought we were really prepared well. We recognized our front four scout D-line was awesome, and we knew we were going to get a great challenge with Penn State's front. But Michael Barwick, Darren Meminger, really good to see those guys. Michael had a little slight injury. He's back full go and coming along very nicely for a second-year guy that you need to develop, both he and Darren. Brandon Wilson, who's been close to playing. We haven't played him yet. I think we've played 12 freshmen. I think that's 60 in 5 years, so we're playing a fair amount of young guys. Brandon's close, but the way Shaw, Mangieri, and some of those edge guys are playing, Gooch going out there, we're able right now maybe to hold his year. We'll see. Tony Thomas, who's been recognized a couple times, does a great job as well. Those were our scout team players of the week. We did have a great week of prep from those guys. Expected to play better. We got to plan it up and dial it up and get us back in rhythm. Thought Danny Cameron did a good job coming in when he got thrown out there. Managed it pretty calmly. Did okay. We did have one turnover. Really wasn't his fault. It was a bad ball. We also had a receiver kind of run a route poorly that brought the guy that made the interception play that we got to clean up. We had 7 3-and-outs, which was not a good deal. 5 times we crossed the 50-yard line. We scored 1 touchdown. And that wasn't a good deal. Too many missed assignments, lack of physical play. So to me, that tells me maybe we're doing too much. And we got to get back and not necessarily simplify things, but put our kids in better places to play well. The kicking game, player of the game was Danny Gotzel. Had 3 tackles on punt coverage. He's a true freshman. He's doing a great job snapping for us. He's been outstanding. That was a huge loss last year with losing our snapper and with Matt Dooley, and the way Danny's come in has been very, very good for us. And pleased with him. Eric Toth had 4 punts inside the 20. Was having a great day until his last kick placement got out into the middle of the field and covering the whole field. We gave up a 19-yard return outside of that. Our punt team was a lot better. Ben Bach was very good on that punt team. We had Tyler Green and Simi Cobbs. We thought did a great job. Good to see Tyler out there playing. Played a little bit of defense. They were on punt return. Mario Swan, our kickoff return, was very, very good. And Damian Willis and Dawson Fletcher. Matter of fact, I think Fletcher's the one that had that onside kick return. I think we got this Dawkins. That was Fletcher, I think, 29-28. Is that right? Yeah, double check. Well, Fletcher's saying it's him, so FYI. If it's worth. Defensively, and then the kicking game, even though we did okay again, we still didn't have impact as far as, creating any significant field position turnovers. Our punt team did okay, but when the offense was going 3 and out, you really didn't flip the field a lot. You didn't pin them down deep. We didn't have any significant returns or anything that really impacted the game. And when you're playing in the Big Ten East and when you play on the road, we got push and find ways to get more guys recognized and making plays for us in kicking. Defensively, I thought our defense played hard, played well. I thought they were put in a lot of bad situations. The way the offense executed, kept throwing them out there. They weathered a little bit in the second and fourth quarter and didn't tackle as well down the stretch in both those quarters. But again, they really battled for the bulk of that game. Gave up a couple big plays. We got to keep working to minimize. But had some solid performances. Nick Mangieri graded well. That's 5 of 6 games that he's had what we consider a winning performance. Zach Shaw played very well. That's 3 of 6 games for him. Marcus Oliver was a winning grade. That's 4 of 6 performances. So those 3 guys are playing high-end ball for us, and we need more guys like that. T.J. Simmons had a championship performance, winning grade, as did Rashard Fant. 2 players of the game were Zach Shaw and Rashard Fant. Scouts, Chris Gajic, young walk-on receiver for us, and Camion Patrick was awesome. Did a great job for us, and he's doing very well. Defensively, had some nice quarterback pressures, tackle for losses, sacks. Got to keep building on that. We were solid on 3rd down. We did allow them in their 3 scores on opportunities to score, 3 for 3. We had too many missed tackles, probably our poorest tackling performance to date. And we had 3 penalties that led to 2 first downs and eliminated a possible turnover. So, I think I saw, and I could be wrong, you guys will say our penalties are killing us, but I think Ohio State's the most penalized team in the league. They're number 1 in the nation. So penalties hurt you, but when you're playing aggressive and, some of the foolish penalties, some of those offsides you like to clean up. Years ago, working for Coach Walker, he would go crazy every time the defensive lineman jumped offside. Can't you see the ball? He would just go crazy. And I went to Oklahoma, and Coach Stoops never said a word, because he said you can't jump the ball if you don't jump offside. So sometimes some things are going to happen. You want to live with it. We need to minimize it, but our team's playing harder. Sometimes, again, you're going to get your hands outside and get a cheap holding call, or grab and get a face mask, or you're aggressive and there's we got hands to the face, and that's football, and the guy just got high, and a couple times they got in our face. Sometimes it's called, sometimes it's not. It's just part of the game. But kids played hard, so we want to clean up the penalties, but I don't think that's by any means the reason we lost that football game. We got beat at the line of scrimmage, offensively in particular. We've got to do a better job playing and score some points, and when you muster 1 touchdown, you're not going to win a lot of football games. Moving on to Rutgers, they're coming in at 2-3. However, they've lost to Washington State on the last play of the game. Michigan State, they got it last play of the game, and trying to drive, they give up a touchdown. They basically controlled that game against a great football team here 2-3 days ago. They lost at Penn State when they were dealing with some issues. That's their 3 losses. Washington State just beat Oregon. Michigan State's undefeated. Penn State's 5-1. They've lost to an undefeated team. So they've got 3 losses. They've lost to 3 pretty good football teams. They're very talented. 9 of the last 10 years, I believe it's 9 of 10. It might be 10 of 11. They've been in bowl games. They play with a great deal of pride, energy, and effort. You watch the way they swarm the ball defensively. Look at their skill set, the way they run the power and counter and play action game on offense. They're multiple D, multiple coverages, multiple blitzes, really make your quarterback work, make your offensive line work, can get you off schedule. Pressure and coverage looks very long and athletic. Very skilled group defensively. Offensively, a bunch of motion, shift, and trade, multiple personnel groupings from big boy sets to spread sets, but to run the ball with power and counter, gap schemes, play action and take their shots, and they're throwing it to maybe one of the better players, not only in the conference, but in college football. The young man Carew is a tremendous talent receiver. It's a threat to score every plays on the field if the ball can get in his way. Very dynamic receiver. I think half of his receptions are touchdown catches, right at it. So very great receiver. Quarterback leads the Big Ten in efficiency. So you got a guy that can make some plays, a guy that can get it to him. Running backs run very hard. They had 185 yards rushing positively against Michigan State before you get the sacks. Michigan State had 144. So they got after those guys pretty good. Their return guy, Grant, number 1, is a dynamic returner. He's got 3 touchdown returns, 2 kickoff returns for a touchdown, 1 punt returner. He's their fly sweep, dynamic receiver. So, again, great skill set. Another Big Ten East game, which is not easy. We got them here Saturday at 3:30. Thought our crowd was awesome last time it was here. Our team needs to play better. I know they will and respond the right way, and I'd like to see our fans kind of rally up and be with us and have a great go for homecoming against a great team this week. Questions?
I guess Nate, Jordan, Xander, all those guys.
And Xander's going to be interesting now because his shoulder issue, and it's on his right shoulder, how well he can throw. So I think as we go through the week, he didn't do anything yesterday, and I think he's got a chance to be a week or two maybe out. We'll see if he can play, I think, Nate did more last night than he did any day last week. He did a few things last week. He was at practice. He didn't take any live throws until Friday. He did half the work on Friday, he and Xander, to see if he'd be ready to go. Danny had all the work last week, and that's why, we thought he came in and did pretty well. So we'll see how Nate is. I think he'll be, again, to me, he was cleared to play, but I didn't think he was mobile enough to move around and extend some plays or protect himself. And he should go through this week, we'll see. But he did more last night at practice than any day last week, and he did half of Friday. And we'll get Danny and Nate Boudreaux ready, and then we'll see where Xander sits. Jordan was running last night. Again, I think, his deal cutting more. It'll be as we go through the week and see where he sets up. So, again, Xander did not practice last night. The other two guys did. Other two guys more than they did last week. We'll see as the week goes. He got an ACL. It's going to require surgery. So his knee gave way, and unfortunately for him, it was past of course, he'd already been redshirted. So he's playing special teams. So we'll need to kick up there. Keep pushing over Coach Johns with keep bringing last night, again, some extra work we got Donovan Hill outside playing some receiver with Westbrook and Thornton. Got to keep bringing those cats along.
Wes Martin, anything on Wes?
He just wasn't playing good. Wes Rutgers has played a lot, and just, I think it's a young guy, as hard as he's been going. I don't know if he's just hitting the wall. We just need him to play a little bit better. Offensive line needs to play better. I think we're just trying to do too much, getting too assignment-oriented instead of playing with just pad level and staying on track and coming off the ball. You're defensively, there's so many looks between all the formations. There's so many looks between all the things that we can do. There's so many looks defensively. I just think sometimes as an offense, you don't want to simplify, but you can get a lot of clutter. And I think we're getting a little bit too assignment conscious. We're trying to grab hold and get a guy instead of come off with the velocity you need to move the football. And I think Wes's young guys played very, very well. Matter of fact, Wes has more winning championship performances than any other offensive lineman. Well, excuse me, Dan Feeney's first, Wes Martin is second. And we've got some other good players that haven't showed up yet. Is playing like we need to play. So we'll keep that group coming along. But Wes will be playing. He didn't get hurt. As a matter of fact, he came back in. We just thought he wasn't playing well.
Kyle Floyd's back from suspension. Is there anything that they do differently with him in terms of with their interim coach?
I don't know. I mean, you need to ask those guys, but from what you gather, he's been a part of all the planning and prep. And the bulk of what you do is planning and prep, and I could be wrong, but I think Kyle probably has done a lot of his play calling through his offensive coordinator, through his defensive coordinator. So the only thing he was doing was game management of, hey, do we go for it on fourth down? Are we in field goal range? Are we sky punting? Do we decline the penalty? And then I think that's where Coach Wilson, Norris has been doing that stuff. So it takes a little bit off of Norris's plate to get back. But during the week, I'm sure Norris was the running back coach and Kyle was the head coach organizing practice. And I think they basically operated standard issue until Friday night. And he was not allowed to be with the team from all day Saturday. So it'll just be game day management.
Just the penalties, do you think that's more of a ticky-tack type of situation, or is that something that you really need to focus on with your players as far as, I mean, looking back to that Penn State game, I mean, you had that fumble that was recovered but then called back, and I talked to a couple of players that said, Latham's hand got a little bit higher. What do you consider in terms of the balance there? Is it ticky-tack, referees calling those things, or is it more?
I don't think it's ticky-tack because, again, it's day and age of concussion. You got to protect people's heads and faces. So if you get high, they've got to take care of player safety outside of managing the game. I think it's the number one things that the referees are taught and need to do, and I think our league is on the forefront of that. So anytime someone's getting high in the face, it's going to be called. And unfortunately, you got a taller, bigger person. Taller people play higher. The higher you go, you get it. So sometimes it happens. I mean, they know that. At the same time, we didn't. We need to move on and make the next play and get a stop, and 2 plays later they scored. But then from there, to me, where the game swung is we scored to tie it up, we get an onside kick, go 3 and out. We get a turnover, get 1 first down, and then we punt again. We had a chance there at the end of the first quarter. We had settled down, weathered the storm, and we left some points on the field. Well, we're at midfield back-to-back times. We have just scored, and we can really get some rhythm going offensively. I think that is one point where the game went away. And I think the other point, after they had made their couple scores in the second quarter, defense played a good third quarter. I think the 11, 10, 9, 8-minute mark offensively there in the fourth quarter, where again it's 19-7. You're going to score a touchdown. Your defense is playing good defense. They're going to get a stop. It's 19-14. you score again, and it's 2014, you're going for 2, and it's going to be it's 2019, it's going to be a 2019 or 22-19 game, and you're playing 2-minute football. There's a couple times I thought the offense let the team and defense down. Wasn't the hands to the face, turnovers happen. Defense is playing good football, you got an onside kick, you get a turnover, you get 0 for it. And you're on the road 7-7, you've weathered the storm, and now let's go play and get momentum on your side. And basically the offense just zapped the energy from the football team. And our football team got stale with our inability to make offensive plays. That's my take.
With the trouble with the offense and kick returns, Rutgers, I think, is 12th in the Big Ten in touchback percentage. You guys are 12th in the Big Ten in kickoff return yards average per return. Are you looking for a spark, or is there going to be a change on kickoff returns at all?
As far as
Putting people back there, maybe using Mitchell.
I mean, we got, I mean, same time, I think we've got who we think are the guys that we need back there. I mean, there's some time where, you can use the runners. Ricky Jones is good at, but those are hits that have some effect, on what's going on. And we've talked the way the ball, and you're saying their kick guy hasn't kicked it quite as deep. There's potential for more returns. Shoot, last week, Penn State's guy took him out from 8 yards deep. It didn't matter. He caught it. He was coming out. So, they got good athletes covering kicks. To me, we just, we got to score points. We're protecting the football. We're not trying to play boring football. We're not trying to be conservative. We threw as many passes as we ran the other day, but we just got to get the ball in the end zone. But we do need to create some things, and they've got a dynamic return kit. Their guys impact. They have a dynamic receiver and a dynamic return guy, and then with that, they play physical football, and along the way, they're scoring some points. We got to get back and generate some point production, because really, we haven't done that since Western Kentucky, to tell you the truth. Wake Forest was a little lethargic. So we've had 3 games of not being the offense we need to be, I think.
To get the offensive line back where you want it in terms of controlling things, I mean, how much is it stuff that you need to do, and how much is it maybe with Nate out, the defenses now don't fear the pass as much and they can jam things up and make it more difficult for you?
Yeah, I think they were doing that a little bit earlier too, though. Good question there, Pete. But I think we've got to threaten some people with the pass game, and that doesn't mean just throw it. You can't have the long foul balls. They only remember the ones that that you click and hit. So just throwing it deep doesn't scare them. You got to make some shots. You got to make some plays. So receivers need to keep coming through. We're trying to get the tight ends more involved. Again, we're not trying to be a 3-yard cloud of dust team. We kind of got that way with Jordan and the line tight ends. So yeah, the box has gotten crowded. It's not because Nate's hurt. It's gotten more crowded. It's really, I think, just our inability to make some one-on-one big plays that we need to make, I think.
Run game, is Danny Friend's absence affected your ability to seal the edge a little bit?
Maybe to some degree. At the same time, Michael Cooper had 4 winning grades the first 4 games at tight end, and we need Anthony Casaro and Jordan to continue to move up. And we've actually played for 2 games. Brandon Knight's been out there, and you guys haven't noticed that one yet, but he's been out there 89. So that's a 270-pound kid that can, we're getting some big boy sets to just help us get that presence going a little bit too. He's still playing offensive tackle, but he's a great young blocker, and we're just trying to get him on the field and take advantage of him.
How far has he come in the last year? You kind of got here a little bit late.
Cameron?
Yeah, last year. How far has he come since last
year? I think all of them are better. Again, until you get out there playing, I think just the way he's born and the way he's made, and not that he's a coach's kid around it, he's reasonably calm. Just his personality. He's not overhyped up. So again, he has been around the game a lot. He goes out there and he talks and communicates and can call the plays and plays within himself. So I mean, he can distribute the ball. He throws it pretty well. And again, again, Nate Boudreaux's about the same. So if he's a little bit off or not playing well, if we need to play Nate was the guy we played last year. Put him in the Michigan game. So until he actually had a shoulder injury. So he's a 4th-year kid. So if we need both those guys, we'll see how Xander moves along. But as the week goes, we'll push hard. And like I said, we don't need Sudfeld to play this game because we've lost. We need him to play because he's capable of playing and can play well and help us win. So we'll push Nate, and we'll get Danny and Nate Boudreaux ready to go.
What about looking at Austin King and bringing him off redshirt at all?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think those other guys are farther along. Like Austin, I just think where he is in his development, I think he needs to continue to get strong, and his command presence as a young guy is not where I think compared to the other guys. I think his talent is going to be very good, but I don't think his presence and understanding is quite there yet.
Dominique Booth, is he out for the year taking a red shirt, or what's his deal?
Well, yeah, and he had an issue earlier that kind of held him up, and he had a hand issue that we went ahead and did a surgery on him. So right now, he's in a cast that, he's missing some time, and it's kind of like Devontae Williams. He hurt his knee, wasn't a major deal, but hadn't came back, and if you hadn't played or hurt it early, you can get a red shirt year. And so like with Williams, if we need Devontae Williams, we could get him back. If not, we're going to pursue that as a red shirt because he got hurt game 3, and he's yet to practice since then, although he has a non-surgical knee. Don Booth had an issue where he couldn't practice, and he had a hand. We went ahead now and just repaired his hand. And so if it needs to be set up like Donovan Clark, it can be a red shirt year if we need him, and we'll see how it goes. Anything else?
Off the wall question a little bit, but Texas a couple weeks ago, they had a player at halftime tweeting. What's your policy on that? Do you allow players to have phones? Have you ever had a player tweet at halftime?
Oh, I don't know. You need to ask Keg. They're supposed to watch that for me sometimes. I don't know. Although sometimes I do my policing, and I don't like some of the stuff that guys put out. It's we work very, very hard to try to use social media to be a positive branding. So we try to just, we have several people that come in and work with their team and show them things. And whether it just be a comment of like, man, practices are hard, the coaches are killing us, in that tone, versus like, man, a lot of energy at practice day, and we were getting after it, it was a lot of fun. And hey, both are hard practices, but one time you sound like you're complaining or don't feel good about it. So we just try to show messages of how to, if you're going to say something, try to say it in a positive light. Because so many, kids, like I will show a message and say, I had to ask, my son specifically asked me, because you're one of his idols, what this word means. So would you like to come over and explain this to my son, what your little slang slogan means right here? Because people, whether you're retweeting, so we try to educate as best we can. Everyone's got bad phones, but we actually take our phones from our kids Friday night, always have, just so they go to sleep, and just to get off of it. Matter of fact, we actually got these little goggle glasses we give them. You guys ought to get them. They look like hunting glasses. They're only about $3. And, but they take the blue light effect away when you're watching TV at night or on your phone. And when they take the blue light effect, it enables you to get, the blue light affects your melatonin, which gets you 90 minutes later into deep sleep. So we actually give our guys glasses to wear on the road to just try to sleep better, and to just get you into the sooner you can get into deep sleep and get a testosterone kick, the better you recover, the more energy, the better brain activity, central nervous system, the whole gig. So we for years have taken phones Friday night just so our kids would go. Now we give them to them first thing Saturday morning. In fact, I actually saw one of my guys Saturday, he was listening to music, and it's about, we came after warm-ups, but he was like texting like probably his mom or love you too. Or you want to say something, but at the same time he's probably dealing with the loved ones, so you don't say anything. It's just the world you live in. So just a kid had his music, because everybody wants to listen to their music. You live in a everybody has their songs, their playlist, their stuff right now. It's a little individual, like, like we've got our music playing for the group, then you got the rap guys, I got to play a clean version of songs. Some kids don't want that version, but I can't play the non-clean version on a public deal, because I got recruits and I got parents, and I got alumni people walking around the building. And so everybody's got their headphones on, everybody's got their style. Now we tell them, we come in on the walk, we take them off, because we want our players to interact with their fans and their families. And so we try to address it, but it's just the world we're living in. And like I say, nothing's off the record. I've never seen a kid of ours on the phone once the game has started. But at the same time, they have their phones in their lockers, and if a kid wanted to walk over and do something, quote, he could. I know of programs that actually make players, when they come in the building, check their phones in, because the kid can sit there and record any meeting. You've heard coaches, I know of certain programs, when you walk in the building, you check your phone in, because it's family business, yet you're in a place where it's just easy to hit record. So, but anyway, it is part of the work. We work very, very hard. I think our school does a great job. Keg's a part of it. We track our guys. We don't try to, I think I've had one player since I've been here, I took his right to Twitter away. It was a young freshman years ago. I said, you're talking way too much, and you don't play, and I just was making a point. And we gave it back to him 6 months later. That's why we didn't have Nate talk today. He didn't play. He practiced more last night. I think it wasn't like, he's not. Last week we thought he could play. He'd been talking. He had played in the game. To me, You just want guys to talk that are playing for, and you want to teach your team how to positively represent your program, your school, because you guys watch it, our fans watch it, our recruits watch it, little kids watch it, and we try to work real hard to make it a positive.
These, not just here, but it seems like conference-wide, nationwide, but are these preventative things, do you think, or are they just freak individual deals?
You're going to have some freak stuff, you know. I know there's an NFL study on what they've done with shoes and which shoe brand is more likely to cause. Now, does that have anything to do with it, or is it just the way the guy got hit? You know, when breaking down, I think there's been some studies on we have developed muscles so strong, but are the tendons and ligaments as strong to carry the force of the muscle? And so there's been some studies and some information on that you know, you see more pec tears and bicep tears last 5 and 8 and 10 years than you saw. So you got violent kids that are running fast and planting hard, and you get a knee, you get an ACL. You know, I've always felt that if a guy was playing hard and a guy was moving his feet, he had less chance to get hurt. I always felt linemen that were standing around leaning stationary was an ACL or a high ankle sprain, because you're just standing. If you're moving and you got great feet movement or footwork, and your feet are really moving, odds of someone catching me are minimized, because I'm moving so fast. You got to catch me just right. If I'm a stationary, how many times? That's why we have our quarterbacks wear the knee on their left brace, because as they're sitting there, they're unprotected, and when they get hit, it just is trying to give those guys a little bit of support. So part of the game, we're looking and talking, but and we've actually looked at some things as we're strengthening muscles with our nutrition. Are there supplements or things that are legal that can maybe help some of the ligaments and tendons as you go through things? Anything else? All right, guys, thanks for being here. Have a great week.